Right. You're listening and watching to the New Eden update for Monday, March 21st, 2016. I'm Wiggles and here's a roundup of a few stories from around New Eden. We start today over at themitani.com with part 4 of the iNewbie series of posts. Quote, "It can't buy happiness, but it can buy a new ship." When we last left our intrepid Alt character, I was riding the ups and downs of PvP. While fortunate, I'd only scraped by the money for the mercy of a few kind players of reimbursing my losses, and had not yet delved into the true nuts and bolts of why so many new players run away from the game after a short period of time. I needed to discover a viable method of this generation which would match up with my chosen profession. I was a member of the NPC Corporation, a militia corporation, and when I had been quite friendly with many folks, I couldn't say that I'd made significant connections. Today I would remedy these grave shortcomings. Cash flow would be my first and foremost problem. In faction warfare, the best method of a new player making ISK is to overtake and capture enemy complexes, aka plexing. Finding sites is easy, but killing NPC ships with actually proves quite a little bit a tougher challenge than most realise. And the next section is peer pressure, joining a player corporation. I had been put in contact with a sizable faction warfare corp, and had been chatting with a few of them for a few days, flying in fleets, and with other members. I was learning what I could and making friends. This might not be what everyone joins in their first corp. In fact, I believe most people eventually find the recruitment channel or read one of the mobile depot advertisements in space and decode why not, or decide why not even. As a new player, I can't stress this enough. Don't settle for a corporation that's not right for you. And just a little side note, yeah, that's true. If the corporation is not fit for you, find someone else. There is one, or make your own. Back to the post. If you get into a player organisation where you don't feel engaged, no one is talking to you, or you feel like you're not bringing anything to the table, then make a change. Write the CEO a quick email and ensure you don't burn any bridges, and try another corp. You're new. You're allowed not to get it right on the first try, or the second, or the third. The important thing is that the group you wind up with is someone you mesh with both socially and in goals. Now, as I've said before, these posts are an amazing insight into how the game is for a new player, even if it is from a veteran player's standpoint. So take the time to go and read them. Next we go over to the Eve News 24 for a post about large fleet fight station timer in Pureblind. In the U-INPD system, In the U-INPD system on the Pureblind region on the 18th of March at 22:30 Eve time, the Imperium and Allied forces clashed once more over a series of sovereignty timers, culminating in a major engagement that spilled into the neighbouring systems. The battle was prompted by a series of timers created by Allied forces, including the first station timer for C8 TAC CHY system in the Fade region. Both sides were expecting a major fight and geared up accordingly. The Allies fielded 3 fleets, a joint Northern Coalition, Pandemic Legion and Culture Proteus strategic cruiser fleet, a low-sec Voltron Cerberus heavy assault cruiser fleet, and a league of unaligned master pilots Gila cruiser fleet. All told, the Allies had approximately 400 pilots. The Proteus fleet made its way into the U-TAC-INPD system, where intelligence pointed to an Imperium Macharial battleship fleet camping the gate, presumably to halt the Allies' advance. With the information of other Imperium fleets forming and converging on the system, including a super capital wing, the Allies decided to engage the Imperium head-on regardless. Now, one of the many casualties of the fight was the Allied fleet logistic wings, which took a severe beating, having to bear the pressure of so many fleets being targeted as well as by a rupture fleet. It didn't take long for the nearest logistic cruisers to simply just explode. The battle lasted around 80 minutes, with time dilation being ever present and reaching and maintaining 10% for the majority of the fight, though numbers fluctuate between systems. It is believed that more than 1,000 players were present for most of the fighting. Allied forces lost 87 ships, including 49 strategic cruisers, 1 heavy assault cruiser and 3 cruisers for a total of 50.41 billion ISK damage. Imperium forces lost 129 ships, including but not limited to 42 battleships, 13 strategic cruisers, 9 battle cruisers and 6 cruisers for a total of 45.39 billion ISK in damages. Our last post today is over at Crossing Zebras and is about the new Project Discovery system. In recent years, EVE Online has become a game that truly embraces the idea of the minigame. Both planetary interaction and the hacking minigame have become the core functions on which careers are built in EVE. Now CCP added Project Discovery to take them to... Now CCP added Project Discovery to them. Unfortunately, Project Discovery isn't joining a prestigious legacy. While the hacking game is newer and thus more modern design, the PI interface remains a mess, and CCP rightly holds a reputation for ambition, and sometimes struggle with execution. In their newest minigame, the endeavour is to work, and it will be important for them to both employ vision and talent to produce something which results in a fun and engaging experience. With all that as a backdrop, let's drill down on Project Discovery. In doing so, I will divide this feature analysis into 3 parts: the crust, or the surface level of understanding the feature, the mantle, or execution of the feature, and the core, the feature's impact on the game or its long-term meaning. Now in this post, Astarothi goes on to write a lot more about this, which is very good to read. He has this part to say though: MMOs begin courting several companies to pursue their goals, and eventually CCP showed interest. However, with Citadel's Sov revamp, Valkyrie and whatever's not Dust is in the works, they simply decided that lacking the development simply lacked the development throughput and added a new feature. Thankfully, they had been cultivating a relationship with the organisation that was full of programming powers which only needed to be tapped: Reykjavik University. Several students from the university began working with CCP and developers to bring the Project Discovery to life. Over time, some of those students progressed, and at least one of them, CCP Wonderboy, joined the company as an intern. This means for at least now, CCP does have dedicated staffers for Project Discovery and its future. For more information about a formation of Project Discovery, go to the link that is going to be listed in the post. Now the post is a very long one and it's very detailed, but does finish with this. All told, Project Discovery is an interesting experiment in the fusion of citizen science and old-fashioned video gaming. So far, CCP and MMOs have demonstrated the ability to gamify citizen science. However, CCP too seems to retain some of the past weaknesses of UI design. One thing they have done well though is the rewards, which are just as high profile enough to create a mainstream buzz. However, without aggressive and effective iterations, Project Discovery could risk of falling into the pit of half success and now abandonment features, and no one really wants that. In the end, Project Discovery is really a learning experience. Each group has their own lessons to learn, and hopefully EVE will be a better game for it. Elsewhere in EVE-related content today, new blog posts are out for Noisy Gamer on the Casino War and Talvorin Dex on trusting your instincts. Both are linked in the show notes or down below this video. On the podcast front even, we have new episodes out from Down the Pipe, Talking in Stations, The Learning Cliff, This Week in New Eden, and a new podcast, which is a new show called Podcast. P-O-D, cast. Plex prices in the Forge region today are registering an average traded price of just under 1.1 billion ISK, 1 billion and 99 million ISK so far today, which is up from 17 million of yesterday's closing average of 1 billion and 82 million. The top buy orders right now are 1 billion 121 million, and the sell orders are starting at 1 billion 133 million. Plex prices are on the creeping back up stage after a low trading weekend, which saw them nearly hit the sub 1 billion mark. Skill Extractors are trading at the moment at 261 million ISK, which is up 8 million from yesterday's closing average of 253 million. The buy orders for those are starting at 255 and sell orders are starting at 260. Skill Injectors are trading at 637 million ISK, which is up from yesterday's closing average just by about a million ISK of 636. buy orders for those are starting at $6.26 and sell orders are starting at $6.40. Thank you to everyone who's chosen to support this show on Patreon and decided they get some value from it and wanted to give a little bit back. You can go to patreon.com/wiggles to find out about how to support this show, and I do understand not everyone has money and flush that can support, so if you can tell some friends about the show, that would be great. You can find out about all the ways to support at newedenupdate.com/support. And as you can tell, we now broadcast live on Twitch and YouTube, and we record it obviously for a podcast, so feedback, you can always send that to us if you have any comments or on the show. Feedback@newedenupdate.com is our email address, or you can leave comments in the show blog at newedenupdate.com. You could even send us a tweet at newedenupdate. I do also encourage you to check out all the latest headlines you can find, and the podcasts, and the blog posts, and all the other information you can find over on TotalEve.com, our sister site. This has been your New Eden update for Monday, Monday, March 21st, 2016. I'm Wiggles, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching or listening.